First, we are really glad that you came. Thanks for being here. This showcase is coming 5-year celebration that we had, where we this is the culmination or the completion of our 5th year as a nonprofit. We've now worked with over or right at 100 fellows, which is really awesome. They're tackling issues, from subsistence level farmers in developing countries to equal opportunity employment in the United States, to environmental issues, to economic issues, to equal justice issues, all over the world. They're nonprofits, they're for-profits. Some of them have failed, others of them are succeeding really beautifully. And so the Rally Fellows are, we can confidently say, world-class social entrepreneurs. They come through a selection process. Our applications for the next cohort are open right now, so you could check out that application process. But they come through an application process where we whittle down from, right now there's over 100 applicants currently sitting, waiting to be reviewed in our pipeline for this next cohort, and we whittle them down into a group of 10. So the entrepreneurs that you're going to see today have come through that process and survived our program, which Connor will tell you briefly about. But the main thing I want to share with you or remind you of this evening is that Rally exists because problems are worth solving. There is a group of people here who are committed to the idea that we ought to do more than service symptoms. We can drive towards solutions. And that when we leverage the power of market-facing strategies to address real intractable problems, we'll see longer, sustainable, more deeper solutions applied to those problems. And so Rally exists because problems are worth solving, and we want to release social entrepreneurs to address those world's most intractable problems all over the world, right from here. We feel like Orlando has everything that the world needs to put into practice social enterprises that address real-world problems. And so that's what we're doing. To give you a little bit of a description about where we're at with that and how we got here is our board chair, Rob Panapinto. Rob, I've got this microphone so the whole world can hear you. The whole world? Yeah, we're on Zoom from all over. Yeah, for sure.
Better? Okay. Well, so again, let me thank you, like all of you, for being here tonight, both in the room and virtually. Ben talked really about the program, but obviously to do this now for 5 years, something that started really to help drive impact through entrepreneurship in our own community has now blossomed into an international organization where, for most cohorts, generally half of the cohort comes from outside of Central Florida, and probably half of that half is are international companies as well. It obviously takes a lot of work. So first, I'd like to thank our staff, Ben, Kyle, for leading the organization and all the work they've done to put this group together. Please give them a round of applause. Rally also has a rather unique model in how we support our entrepreneurs. Obviously, the programming and the 4-month accelerator that we put folks through has a pretty rigorous curriculum that's designed to both look at building and expanding your business model from an entrepreneurial standpoint, but also the theory of change. And we constantly are balancing the business you're trying to build and the impact you're trying to make. And so that's obviously a rub, right? Starting an early stage company is hard enough to do one thing. We have to do both. So to do that, obviously, again, we've got this really strong curriculum, but it also requires a lot of mentorship and support. In our model, actually, those mentors are also our investors and supporters in our organization. So If you're a rally maker in our room, please raise your hand. I was going to say, some of you guys aren't raising your hand, and I know who you are. Raise your hands. We could not do this without our rally. Many of rally makers have been with us the entire time we've been in existence. So these are people that year in, year out give both their time and treasure to support what we're doing. And we're very appreciative of that. I also always want to thank our founding partners. There were some organizations that we felt were important to be building blocks when we built this. So I certainly want to thank the precursor. The precursor to Rally was an organization that Ben himself started at Credo called Rally Makers, which is how we came to the name of Rally Makers. So Ben and Credo, the Central Florida Foundation, Mark Brewer, the CEO, could not be here tonight, but I see Nicole is here tonight. So thank you always for the Central Florida Foundation. We are actually an initiative under the Central Florida Foundation, and their support has made it much easier for us to scale and grow our organization. My buddy Sean Sleipler from Clean the World, one of Orlando's great homegrown social impact, social enterprises, is here with us and one of our founding partners. One of the other founding entities was a group called Entrepreneurs in Action that I'll talk to you about in a minute, but several of my partners, John Karen, Robert Newland, are in the room tonight. And lastly, second to lastly, Rollins College, because we felt we needed a strong educational component to what we're doing. I don't think anyone from Rollins is in the room tonight. And then lastly, the city of Orlando, because as we look at solving some of these problems, you really need all three sectors involved, right? You need the private sector, the entrepreneur sector, the nonprofit sector, and the public sector. And so even in the founding organizations, that's how we tried to build Rally. So I thank the city of Orlando for their support. The other local government I'd like to thank is Orange County. What Orange County really allowed us to do these last couple of years was to make sure as we continue to build the program internationally, we could focus on our backyard while we were looking across the world. So with Orange County support, we've been able to consistently make sure we're supporting companies in Orange County and in Central Florida. The other piece of the program that we don't always talk about is, yes, the entrepreneurs go through the 4-month program, but then we also offer the opportunity for funding, whether you're a for-profit or a not-for-profit. It's not guaranteed, so this is not an accelerator that you come into and you give us a piece of your equity and we hand you a check at the end of it. But through Entrepreneurs in Action, we do have a social venture fund that looks at the companies that are in Rally. We've invested in companies through Rally from Omnimodal to EcoSpears to Archer Defense Services to Swiggle Park. 3 out of those 4 companies are growing and thriving, which 5 years out, if you look at 4 startup companies and 3 of them are continuing to grow, that's actually really great odds and a great track record. So we're very proud of that. But we've also been able to support nonprofits like Batteries, the One Orlando Alliance, and a group that was called Modo when they was here, but is now called Nintendo, which has a wonderful mission in Africa where they are developing both a sustainable fashion model at the same time they're creating jobs for women in Uganda. Those folks got money through a nonprofit seed fund that we have that's housed at the Central Florida Foundation. So the program at the end of the day really is a combination of educational curriculum through the Accelerator to help them grow, and then access to funding either through our 2 ventures or, I know there are several investors on the Zoom tonight who will also be looking at our companies for potential investment. So Ben, I'll turn it back over to you. Over to you.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Kyle Seal, Program Director of Rally. Obviously, it's a pleasure to see you all here. We've been doing this for quite a while. It's becoming a blur, but as Ben said, we've worked with very intimately, probably close to 100 companies, and we're on our way to work with another 10, so we just keep moving the needle. As a reminder, I don't know if this was said out loud, but Rally, in terms of the Accelerator, our main primary mission is to help individuals at the very early stages of their entrepreneurial journey build sustainable ventures that create positive and measurable social, environmental, or economic change. So that's what we're tasked to do. And we do that through working with them on their business model, their social impact model, and then just by connecting them to the resources and people needed to kind of straighten out the already squiggly journey of the entrepreneurial journey. This class was specifically unique because one, it was more international than we've ever had before. And so we have fellows ranging all the way from Pakistan to Nigeria to Malawi, so very far away from Orlando. Obviously coming into Orlando to be able to partake of all the resources and things that we have available here, that makes us a good hub for social entrepreneurs, especially at the early stage. The other thing that was really interesting about this class is the fact that they were the most cerebral class that I've been involved in. Not saying that the other classes weren't smart, but this class was almost like on a PhD level in terms of and when you look at their backgrounds, where they came from, whether it's University of Pennsylvania, Dartmouth, we had a lot of Ivy Leaguers in this class. And so that was really cool for me to see not only a huge international component of companies that were doing really good work in other places, but to see the level of people, the kind of people that we're now starting to attract to Rally. And so it was really good for us to go through that work. Other than that, I think that was about it. I'm excited to show y'all what these folks are doing. Hopefully they'll have ask and you'll find ways to be able to participate and to help them along their journey. And that's it. So here you go, Ben. Yeah.
So we've got 10 fellows in this class, and they've all got presentations that we had them pre-record. And then we'll do some live Q&A, just a couple of questions that I'll ask them briefly. We have 7 that will be here virtually because we brought them in a couple weeks ago. And with their travels 30 hours away, we didn't want to bring them back. But they're here virtually with us. Yeah. And then we have several in the room too. So when they're in the room, you'll see them. If not, they'll be virtual. But we got 10 short pre-recorded presentations and Q&A. So.
Hi everyone, and salams from Pakistan. That's how we greet in this part of the world. My name is Aisha Amin, and I'm very excited to share about my passion, which is my work, my social enterprise. So BETUC is the non-profit organization that I founded in 2018, and the big logo that you see on your screen is the digital tech-based solution that we started working on from last year. We work on providing women access to their sexual and reproductive health and rights in Pakistan, especially in rural communities in Pakistan. I started this venture because of a personal journey. Being born and raised in a patriarchal traditional family, I saw how girls and women in my family and in my community did not have power to exercise their bodily autonomy and make decisions about their reproductive health, especially because of lack of access to quality reproductive health information. So my mission with this venture really is to empower women to make informed decisions by providing them access to quality reproductive health information. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is huge. But to summarize, Pakistan unfortunately is home to one of the highest fertility rates in the world in all the reproductive health indicators we see. One of the major reasons and one of the major challenges to quality reproductive health for women is the lack of access to quality reproductive health information, societal taboos, limited mobility, lack of privacy, and healthcare provider bias not only limit women's access to information but also men's access to reproductive health information. Our target beneficiaries, every girl and women of reproductive age in rural Pakistan, who make up approximately 25% of country's population, and our target users are people from any gender of the reproductive health. So this is our solution. We call it GUL because GUL is a very gender neutral and a very common name in Pakistan. You will find a GUL in every corner of the country. So our idea is to make GUL a friend for everyone in the country who is of reproductive age and who wants to know more about the reproductive health. So GUL uses voice to provide reproductive health information in local languages. So it speaks the languages that people in grassroots communities speak and understand. It uses the technology, that is WhatsApp and voice, that people are already familiar with, and it's free of cost. It ensures privacy. People can access information just by sending a single voice note. So as I mentioned, this is a free service. Someone needs to bear the cost. So our customers are INGOs and NGOs in reproductive and gender space who want to provide this information in people in rural communities in the country and who want access to these communities in a culturally sensitive, localized, and cost-effective way. So our theory of change is that if we provide quality reproductive health information to girls and women and their families, they'll be able to make informed decisions about their reproductive health. This is the amazing team I work with. We are a very young team, but a very passionate team about this cause. And we are also a very balanced team. We have people from tech expertise, we have people with marketing expertise, we have the medical advisors. So we are a balanced, young, and passionate team. Our ask is very simple. If you know an INGO or NGO who we can partner with, who has money, who can give us funding and grants, please tell them about GUL and connect us with them. This is our contact information. Thank you so much for listening.
Aisha, that was great. Thanks for putting that together for us. I was watching that and thinking about so much we've learned about your story. I was thinking about how impressive Aisha is. It's fun to know there are people like you working in Pakistan. And I was thinking about your story, the family that you came from, your trip to the UN. What do you think has equipped you the most for the work that you're doing with GUL right now?
Hi, Ben, and hi, everyone. I hope you all had a good day. Thank you for that question. I think what has equipped me the most is people, especially women I work with. They're the inspiration behind making GUL, and it's the girls and women in communities I work with who really just inspire us to continue, doing the work that we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're being very humble there, and I appreciate it. And then the other thing I was thinking about when I saw that presentation was the idea of selling to INGOs and NGOs. We worked some through the program to kind of get to a spot where we felt like that was the right customer for us or for you. Can you talk about, is that your final customer, you think, or how did you get to that was the right person for you to sell to?
So I think that's what has been one of my biggest takeaways from Rally. Because before joining Rally, I think there was a lot of pressure on converting the potential users into customers, which was very difficult. So one thing that I'm really taking away from this experience of Rally is to have that clarity on having customers and users as different categories, and just using the grant money or funding from INGOs to build GUL, keep it free for users, and then identify a separate set of customers going on to build sustainability in future. So I think that's one of my takeaways from this accelerator, and I'm grateful for that breather.
Yeah, I like that we can build these things incrementally, start with these larger customers and move towards smaller customer sets or more individual customer sets as we go on. Aisha, can you share with the room what your very next step is? Like, what do you think you're doing in the next month with your time?
So we still have to launch this voice assistant GUL. We are in the pilot phase. So hopefully the next step would be launching it, and getting one more INGO grant. I think that's what we're focusing on right now.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you have that clarity, and it's been super fun to work with you, Aisha. Thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Professor Banda with Water Engineering Technology.
Hi, everyone. My name is Professor Banda, co-founder of Water Engineering Technology, which is a social entrepreneurship venture which is based in Malawi, Africa. We exist to help smallholder farmers who struggle to extract water from the ground. Our affordable and efficient water pump simplifies and increases water extraction efficiency by 10 times. We believe that each and every farmer deserves the ability to live healthy and thriving lives, to be food secure and economically stable. 82% of Malawi's population live in rural areas, and they grow maize as their staple crop. They also grow vegetables. The major problem with Malawi is that it experiences the hunger season each and every year when families do not have food. To solve this problem, they switch to irrigation. The problem is that they use primitive technologies which are very labor intensive and inefficient. Therefore, a lot of land remains idle. We produce local water pumps, which are made from locally available materials. Therefore, they are low cost and they are very efficient. Once the farmers grow crops using local water pumps, they harvest bumper yields. Therefore, they are food secure and economically stable. Our customers are the same as the beneficiaries. The major problem with the primitive technologies is that they are labor intensive and inefficient. The beautiful thing about the solution that we have is that it is low cost and easy to use, and it produces a lot of water per unit time. Our total addressable market is 480 million US dollars. As farmers buy the farms that we produce, they grow food, therefore they are food secure and economically stable. We have two types of pump, the single wheel and the double wheel. From the prototypes that we have provided, it has proven that the farmers who own rope and washer pumps, they have improved in living standard. They have modern houses, they are able to send their children to school. They are also food secure. The co-founders, my co-founders include Gables and Joseph. The kind of support we need support for startup, in terms of startup capital. For us to be sustainable, we need to sell 800 pumps per year for about 3 years. We also need support in terms of partnerships with NGOs in agriculture development and the government. We also need advice in business management. Thank you very much.
Professor, thanks for putting that. Do we have Professor?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks for putting that together for us, man. I really have enjoyed water engineering technology. For the room, it's like a classic social enterprise for us. This was a project started underneath a nonprofit banner. And when we look at it, we realize if we can line it up right, it might even go faster as a for-profit company. I know, Professor, that you've been on the staff with Africa Windmill Project, the preceding nonprofit. Can you tell me what do you think is the top thing you've learned as setting up water engineering technology?
Yeah, thanks so much, Ben, and everyone. So one of the things that I've learned so much is getting the for-profit, the non-profit into the for-profit. Like we had a meeting with one of the rally makers, Jennifer Smith. Yeah, so she really helped us to come up with a hybrid between Africa Windmill Project and water engineering technology. Yeah, so that these can exist and work together properly.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So a hybrid organization, Jennifer helped you put together that hybrid organization so you can leverage the best of the nonprofit while you're building the for-profit company. That's really great. The other thing I was thinking about is one of the things we were curious about when you got started in the program was would people pay for something or have the capacity to pay for something that you had been giving out for free? Have you learned stuff about that as you've gone through the program?
Yes, it was very exciting. I was very excited to learn that our products, which were given to the users just for free as a donation, they are now paying for it. And it has also helped us to scale up, and to reach to more and to a lot of people, more than we could with only the non-profit. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that's exciting to find out that they would pay. That's gold, right? Literally, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then last, I was going to ask you, like, what are you excited about? Like, what do you think is if water engineering technologies is the best thing it can be in the next year and a half? What do you imagine you'll see, Professor?
I imagine that I would see a lot of lives transformed. Food security in Malawi, with a lot of farmers smallholder farmers using our product, the rope and Russia pumps. See a lot of people being able to have food in their homes and being able to send their children to school by generating income from the pump as they use the pump and grow crops and sell the crops. So food security, economic stability, good health and good nutrition as they grow crops, diverse kind of crops, and use those crops to feed their children and find money to send their children to school. So I see food security and economic stability, in Malawi through our farms.
Professor, that is beautiful. We're with you on that, man. And we've so enjoyed having you in the program, and we wish you all the best. You guys saw the ask. It's a straightforward business model for them, so we're really excited about it. Good work, Professor. Thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you so much.
Next, we're staying on the continent of Africa with Tomi and Ripple Technologies.
Hi, my name is Tomi Kolaoli and I'm from Ripple. At Ripple, we are helping small businesses determine their creditworthiness and gain access to loans across Africa. Currently, there's an high rate of limited access to credit facilities within Nigeria. What do I mean by this? About 45 million individuals are currently underbanked and lack access to loans. And also about 38 million small businesses lack access to credit facilities and loans. And of course, we know what happens when small businesses lack access to finance. Their growth declines and eventually they die. So to dive more into the problem, we discovered that most of these small businesses actually lack access to traditional data required by banks for creditworthiness checks. As a result of this, they are unable to determine their credit scores and eventually they cannot access loans and credit facilities. To solve this problem at Ripple, we developed an artificial intelligence technology that helps small businesses analyze alternative data such as behavioral patterns, spending patterns, and mobile data, and thereby we help them to determine their creditworthiness scores and thereafter connect them to low risk and non-predatory loans. Our customers are pretty much small businesses and credit companies. We help credit companies gain access to our APIs and algorithms to analyze their customers' financial data and creditworthiness. And we help small businesses analyze their creditworthiness and connect them to loans. This is an example of what our product looks like, showing our credit worthiness checks and our AI credit analysis mechanisms. Our business model is quite simple. We charge creditors $0.24 per creditworthiness check, and we charge borrowers interest rates on every loans we connect them to, as well as $0.12 per every creditworthiness check. At 100 creditors, Ripple would have current revenues of about $3.97 million, and at 10,000 creditors, that's the maximum amount of creditors would have current revenue to as much as $397 million annually. Currently, we've been able to onboard 3 credit firms as customers, and we are currently helping 135 businesses actively gain access to loans monthly through our Ripple analysis model. We have also been able to grow revenue from about 315% from $467 to over $1,900 within the last 7 months. I've also been able to do about 17,000 financial transaction data analysis within the last 7 months as well. Currently, we secured a partnership with one of the biggest banks in Nigeria, which is Zenith Bank. And due to this, we're going to gain access to about 5,000 businesses, which we're going to be analyzing monthly for them. Our aim is to ensure that within the next 12 months, we further expand our services and deploy our services to over 7,000 businesses, and the process generate revenue of as much as $20,000 monthly. Our team is pretty much made up of persons who have expertise and experience in things like financial inclusion and AI software development. And together, we have over 20 years of experience amongst ourselves. And we are looking to ensure that we take this business to the next level by ensuring that thousands of small businesses across Africa are able to gain access to credit facilities monthly. We are currently raising $350,000 at the $2 million valuation, and we are excited at the networks and partners that Rally has, and we hope to be able to capitalize on these networks to be able to onboard more credit companies and partner with insurance firms and small businesses that we can work with within the next few months. Thank you.
Tommy, thanks for putting that presentation together for us, man. Good work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brian. Yeah.
I was just describing to them how you pivoted from Vinsight to Reapl while you were in the 4-month program from the visually impaired aid to this credit. And what I was leading up to tell them was, when I first saw that you were helping small businesses access credit, I looked at it with my mindset and thought, this maybe not line up as a social enterprise. And then I did a little research into the way the economy is developing in Lagos, the pace that it's developing at, and the way that small businesses are being excluded. Tommy, can you just say again a little bit about the way that small businesses are being excluded, or why that's a problem that you want to solve?
Yeah, thanks so much, Ben. Thank you so much. So currently in Nigeria, we have over 38 million businesses, small businesses who lack access to loans and credit facilities. And this is actually a personal problem as well. At some point, I was trying to build a small business, but unfortunately, I tried getting access to a loan, and there was no access to loan because I was building a small business. And this pretty much due to the fact that most small businesses or underserved individuals don't have the required traditional data that banks and credit companies use. And due to this, their business either dies or they are good stores, and
right.
They're unable to level.
Sorry, so people moving into a fast developing city like Lagos, trying to get into a growing economy, have trouble because the way it's developing, they're naturally excluded, correct?
Yeah, sure.
And now you're developing this application that will help them get credit access, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Tommy. What would you say is your top need right now?
So right now what we're looking for pretty much two things. First one is access to funding to scale because we already have our products on the market. The second one is partners. We are looking for opportunities to partner with banks or credit firms that we could pilot with, pretty much.
Awesome. And what would you say, Tommy, is the thing that you're going to do very next? What's your next kind of 2 steps that you need in building Reapl, or that you're going to take?
So I would say our 2 next steps pretty much is expansion. We're looking to try and see how we could grow our impact as fast as possible. Currently, we have 135 businesses. We're looking to scale that to over 1,000 businesses monthly. So I'll say that's the first one. The second one pretty much is ensuring that we improve our marketing and also improve the rate at which we help small businesses, get access to credit. So those 2 things.
Awesome. Thank you, Tommy. Way to go, man. Thanks for putting the stuff together and taking the time today.
Thank you so much.
Just real briefly for you all in the room, it's really cool that there would be such a clean fintech company that also has this social impact strategy that aligns with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. It's a really neat thing to be a part of. Next, we have, Layo George with Wolomi.
Hi, my name is Layo George, and I'm here to talk about the Wolomi app, a digital companion for women of color. I started Wolomi because I didn't want to die on my own pregnancy journey, And women of color are dying in the United States at an alarming rate. A lot of the deaths are preventable, and also there's an alarming rate of complications that happen on this journey. We serve women from the age of 22 to 42 years old. And as I mentioned before, even when women do not die, there's an alarming rate of premature birth or different kinds of complications that occurs. And this can cause an insurance, a self-insured employer, about $12 billion annually. We hope to get in front of providers, health providers and health insurance company who serve women who are on the same page about getting better outcomes for women of color. We hope to support them to get women to 37 weeks and above. Our current ideal client that we are going after right now, a health insurance company, as I mentioned before, that are self-employed, that are self-insured, and they want to save costs and provide quality care. For them, it's important to decrease the healthcare costs for both mom and the infant, and provide equitable outcomes. Our solution really gives mom an ability to chat with experts, get educated on their journey, to get them to that 37 weeks and support them with their mental health outcomes. We charge customers per member per month, by the prospective customer per member per month, and implementation fees are often applied to the engagement. The total addressable market is about $36,000 billion in the United States, and globally. Our solution really, we hope to get ourselves in front of businesses who are already serving moms to get better outcomes. Currently, we serve March of Dimes and American Group DC. And our experts and our team really, truly have expertise in scalability and also equitable clinical outcomes. We would like introductions to health insurance and companies that are self-insured, so that we can continue to serve moms and have cost savings for companies. We imagine a world where pregnancy is not a death sentence for any mom. You can find us on any social media platform at Wolomi app. We'd love to hear from you. Please email us at hello@wolomi.com. Thank you very much.
Come join me, Ms. Layo. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Good presentation.
Except
For it got cut off, which
Yes.
we're bothered about, but we'll send it to anyone who needs to see it all, and we got it. Layo, it's been really fun working with you. You're new to the area. How long have you lived here?
Almost 2 years, I guess.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
not that new.
Yeah.
But and
It feels new.
It feels new still, for sure. And I was like looking at that last statement. We imagine a future where pregnancy is not a death sentence for any woman. Like, that's so kind of tragic. Do you feel like that's hyperbole, or do you feel like that is like true? Describe to me how that is true.
Yeah, so in the United States, women of color, specifically Black women, are 3 to 4 times likely to die on their pregnancy journey. And I think oftentimes we do not, it feels like, oh, how does that happen? But it does happen, especially when you are sitting in a lot of the maternal mortality review committee and you're reading through a lot of how these women die and some of the preventable things that could have been prevented. And so when you're thinking about it, it's real, because that's a family that has now lost a mom or a baby that's not going to be supported. So it happens quite often in the United States, and yeah.
More than it ought to.
Yeah, more than it ought to. And Well, the sad part also is like we are very focused on the death, which is like, okay, it's great that we can prevent death, but what about the experiences, right? Like there's a lot of near misses and a lot of suffering that happens as well. That's even a lot more than the death that occurs in the maternal health journey. So oftentimes we should think about that as well.
Yep. And so how does Wolomi help? What does Wolomi do that can turn the tide?
So we come alongside the mom, oftentimes supporting them with giving them midwifery. Well, there are a couple of things that are evidence-based that we know that could improve outcomes, and a lot of this death, they're often preventable. So we've combined together 5 pillars, so making midwifery philosophy accessible to moms. So on their journey, they can get weekly pregnancy moments that's written by a midwife, focusing on what are the things that they should talk to their provider about. And then we also have something called Mama Companions. This is the idea of having somebody in the community, from the community, who can help them create goals to help them to sort of prepare themselves as they go on that journey. And then we have the mental health aspect of it. So we do mental health screening, refer moms to support services if they need it. And also we have experts like mental health therapists on the app as well that can support the mom. And the other part is ability to have access to culturally competent experts, because oftentimes, like it's like that white coat syndrome. Sometimes it can be very intimidating when moms are talking to a provider, and the provider appointments are only 20 minutes long. So the provider has their own agenda, and so oftentimes the mom are not comfortable enough to have their own agenda. And we know in those instances is where the mistakes happen, because the moms are the experts of their own body, and so they need to be in a position where they're able to tell the provider what's wrong, and also have the autonomy to say, if a provider is not doing what they need to do, then I need to go find a new provider. So helping them to navigate. So with the experts on the app, we have doulas, nutritionists, midwife. They're able to, in their own home, ask questions. So a lot of the questions we get are always about, hey, I went to my doctor's appointment today. They said X, Y, and Z. I kind of feel like this. And so we kind of coach them to either have meaningful conversation with their provider or support them to find different providers.
It's been really fun working with you these 4 months. One of the things that is really inspiring to me is your tenacity. Like, I've listened to you on the phone with programmers in other countries trying to build things. I've seen you go after different customer segments. What the passion that a social entrepreneur has to address a problem and build a business that can sustain it, but it's because she wants to address the problem. You're a very pure example of that, which is really awesome. And I know that you had a specific ask at the end of the thing. What do you feel like is your very next step? What do you need to do in the next month?
Well, yeah, and my very next step is continue to get in front of health systems and health insurance who really, this is a problem for them, and they've been dinged in the system because it costs them a lot. And so the more we get in front of those payers and health system and show them the solution and the outcomes that we are getting, the better we can able to pretty much support more moms. And for me, my background as a nurse and a labor and delivery nurse at that, and a mom, so I feel like for me, what you're saying, for me, it's more important to get in front of those people who are serving the moms who need the service the most.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Our next founder is in the Boston area. His name's David Hojah, and his company is called Parrots Inc.
Hi, everyone. I am David Hojah, founder and CEO of Parrots Inc. And we are here to introduce us to our solution, Poly, to empower people with neurological challenges and their healthcare providers. There are millions of people with neurological challenges, like Stephen Hawking, Muhammad Ali, Michael Fox, and many others. And those people face cognitive and communication issues, and they have unmet medical needs, and they need expensive healthcare, especially for conditions like Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, dementia, and many other conditions. And the problem also for healthcare providers. It's hard for them to manage a large group of patients, and it's cost them a lot of money just to take care of one patient. And we're talking about over $130K per patient per year. And this problem is keep growing as it's really costs the nation over 200 billions annually in patient care and lost productivity. And that's why we built our solution Poly, which is completely software. It's AI ML platform that provide real-time voice, cognitive assistant, and telehealth for people with neurological disorders. And we bring unique value propositions, starting with caregiver, by having smart automated remote patient monitoring that enhance the quality of care for healthcare providers, especially for hospitals and nursing homes. And we give personalized care and predict their needs, whether it's a personal need or medical needs, with our machine learning algorithms. And we save costs for healthcare providers so they can manage to take care of multiple patients without affecting the overall healthcare management. One use case is AI recognition and prediction. So the system is predicting their personal need or medical needs, and then predict sentences in real time. And we do automated remote patient monitoring to help the healthcare providers. Our market size, total addressable market is $80 billion, but our servable obtainable market is about $10 billion with our model, pricing model as software as a service, which is $250 per patients per month. And we are a passionate team from different backgrounds and skills, and we have great advisors from veterans, healthcare providers, MD, PhD, and our users loved our system, and we have been making those everywhere. And we're looking for investors and healthcare providers to join our mission. And thank you so much.
David wasn't able to join us today. He had a health emergency, but David's one of these guys that Kyle mentioned kind of like blows you away with his intelligence. He's a total inventor. He experienced this problem in his friendship and family circle and realized that patients with these severe needing round-the-clock monitoring never got any level of independence, right? They're never by themselves in the room. And they still have capabilities. They can answer emails and communicate. They can do things where they might need some privacy, but you don't want to leave them alone. And the tool monitors their surroundings as well as them in order to communicate out to the nurses if something is out of place, right? And so it's a software and a hardware component that increases communication and independence. It's really cool. And he's got it going in healthcare in a couple of nursing homes right now, working towards approval in the VA. So we're really excited about him, and it was fun to work with him. Our next one is Joey Down so we're halfway through. I wanted to mention that. We're halfway through. Our next one is Joey Down with Polaris Technology Group.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Down, and I am the founder of Polaris Technology Group. We are an immersive technology company based right here in Orlando, Florida, and we exist for one reason, and that is to provide more independence for people with disability through the use of technology. So why do we do what we do, and who do we do it for? Well, we believe the world is not accessible enough. In Florida alone, there are more than 500,000 blind or visually impaired individuals, and that number is expected to more than double by the year 2050. As a member of the blind and visually impaired community, I can attest to the fact that inclusivity is really best provided when it's coming from those who utilize it the most. Polaris thinks that it is able to reduce inequality by a nuanced and innovative approach to the development of technology. So what is the actual problem we're looking to address? Well, simply put, we think there's a lack of digital accessibility, specifically in indoor navigation or wayfinding for people with disabilities, that is preventing them from living fulfilled and independent lives. So, understanding the problem, who are we trying to work with? Is the potential customer? It is actually not the user. We think the user should simply be the beneficiary of the product created between Polaris and its customer base. So we look to work with companies or institutions that are looking to utilize beacons or other forms of wayfinding for indoor navigation, places like municipalities, universities. These large-scale, densely populated, and highly trafficked areas are places we look to work with because we think the impact of having those areas be more inclusive, more accessible, and safer is ideal for the betterment of the population. So what are some of the problems that these customers can exhibit that our solution can rectify? Well, as you can see on the pictures on the right, there is a hazardous wet floor sign or an emergency evacuation plan. These are very, very hazardous and dangerous environments that if we cannot relay the information effectively to the user, a blind or visually impaired individual can suffer harm or injury because of the changes to the environment. So we look to address those problems by capturing those changes and then relaying that information to the user. So how do we go about that solution? Well, we create a mobile application feature that integrates seamlessly with already pre-existing wayfinding or beacon technology. So what does that mean? We will use the smartphone to collect information regarding the user's environment. We'll scan the environment, collect all the information thereof. We will then communicate that information to the user by combining the information that we collect through the user's smartphone and pairing that with the information being provided through the already existing beacon or wayfinding apparatus. We can create a clear and seamless understanding of the user's environment that they can be completely informed of, whether it is a static environment or a changing environment. We're blessed to have some truly amazing partners, organizations such as Lighthouse Central Florida, Avalon Park Group, the University of Central Florida, specifically their computer science department. They have been truly amazing partners and believers in the work we are doing and have supported us along our journey to make the world more inclusive for people with disabilities. So next steps for us is actually going to be a partnership pilot opportunity with an organization that is either looking to become more accessible or is already utilizing services such as beacon or interior navigation. We believe our service pairs nicely with these companies and organizations so that we can integrate our solution on top of their pre-existing technology and create a more valuable service to the disabled user. We think that by demonstrating the proof of concept, we can begin to change what it means to be accessible in the world, and we can create these more accessible communities for people with disabilities. If you're looking to get in touch with us, you can do it either through our email, as you see here on the screen, or through our website, and we look forward to talking with you.
We have Joey down in the room. Thanks for being here, bud. I'm going to stand over here so that folks can see us. But I was watching that presentation and thinking about, I described how Layo really experienced the issue and then is driven to try and solve a problem that maybe not everybody is paying attention to. And it occurred to me, you're in a very same spot. You came to us with all this research. Talk a little bit about the interest that the visually impaired community had expressed to you in a solution like this before you came to us.
Yes, like I mentioned, I am visually impaired and have been so since about the age of 5 or 6, so it's been pretty much a staple of my life. So in wanting to give back to the community that I was a part of growing up and wanting to make the world a better place for those people, I've worked really closely with organizations like Lighthouse Central Florida, Lighthouse Guild, and some of the other organizations you saw on the screen. And we just got to talking about some of the ideas I had on how we can make the world more accessible through the use of very strategically developed technology. And some of the ideas that we had fostered and brought up, they really took really kindly to and really supported us in our journey for. And they saw the vision for utilizing technology such as a smartphone to really empower people with visual vision impairment to be independent, and they've been, tremendously valuable resources and supporters of the work we've done up to now.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about, that's the first thing I thought about when I saw your presentation, was like, wow, Joey is pure in addressing a problem. And then it was, there's no ADA requirements around these types of things. Like, once you get in the building, it's on you to figure it out. The government doesn't require building owners to have this type of accessibility for visually impaired people. So we had to try and figure out who was a good customer for you, and that's why you're adamant that the users are not the customer, they're the users, right? So talk a little bit about this beacon technology. How widely used is it? Is it your last mile solution for people using those, you're thinking?
Yeah, so essentially what beacons are is they're little Bluetooth zones, so that when you pass through the front door of this building, you'd be kind of airdropped a piece of information like, welcome to Credo Conduit, you're at the front door, to your left there's the elevator, things of that nature. So those would be paired throughout a building, and they're pretty common in certain aspects, not necessarily specifically for visual impairment accessibility, but we thought that form of information relay really set a strong foundation for what we could do on top of that. Providing that information to the user is super important. Knowing that there's the elevator to the left or the staircase to the right, that's great. However, if you're visually impaired, that last mile part of the problem is the most important. Knowing that the elevators to the left doesn't necessarily help me walk right up to the elevator or to the restroom or things like that. So we thought that if we could solve that last mile portion of the problem, we could empower the user to never need to ask for help. They could take all the information regarding their surroundings and really complete the journey on their own.
Yeah, so there's static information on the beacon, and you can leverage camera and a couple other tools to give them real-time information as they're moving through the building.
Yeah, exactly. So like the caution, what floor sign, or the emergency evacuation plans, those are things that the environment is quickly changing, and you want to make sure that the user can be made aware of that information. So the phone's camera can collect that information and then alert the user, caution, what floor sign ahead, proceed with caution, things of that nature, or whatever else the change might be. It could be reading a out of service elevator sign, or pushing you to the closest evacuation plan in case of an emergency.
Awesome. So I'm really excited about where you've landed with that customer, and I know that you're moving forward in conversations, and if people have further introductions for you, that would be valuable. But we're really excited to see where you go, and thanks for taking the time, Joe.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
So next we go out to San Francisco, where we've got Lynn from San Francisco.
Hi everyone, my name is Lin Duhain. I'm the Executive Director of Atutu. We're a nonprofit organization working to reduce energy inequities in off-grid communities. Our purpose is to bring safety, dignity, and economic opportunity to people living without affordable energy access. In doing so, we aim to reduce the negative environmental impact caused by utilizing unsustainable sources of energy. There are 1.8 million internally displaced persons in Myanmar, and a third of them are without energy access. We also found that remote off-grid villages were being told their electrification plans have been canceled or delayed until further notice. Taking this into consideration, we project that over 1.2 million people will be forced to live in off-grid housing by 2025. If we do nothing, they will be relying on unsustainable sources to meet their energy demands, sources like candles, wood-burning stoves, and diesel generators. While we are starting here, our customer discovery informed us that these problems are not unique to Myanmar. There are communities in Southeast Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa who are also living without energy access. But our team is here to change that. We want to accelerate renewable energy access in off-grid communities starting in Myanmar, and we achieve this in 2 products. The first product is a family-scale solar home system. With this, the families can get nighttime lighting and USB device charging capabilities. Our second product is a community-scale microgrid that can power 4 to 5 homes or community infrastructure. In terms of price, the solar home system costs $520, and our community microgrid costs around $7,800 upfront. These upfront costs can be a barrier for many of the families. In order to ensure the financial barriers are addressed, we plan to offer a couple of financing plans. There's energy as a service plan and a monthly repayment plan so that they don't have to take on the upfront cost. With the urgency of the problem comes opportunities. With over 1.2 million off-grid people, we estimate that there's a $41 million market for energy solutions in Myanmar. Our solutions are already in the communities. My team has installed and maintained over 262 solar home systems. And as for the community microgrid, we've deployed one pilot system and we plan to install 9 more systems this year. We've successfully brought affordable energy access to over 1,300 people, and we have nearly 800 people on our wait list. This is our team. We are from off-grid communities of Myanmar, so we have first-hand knowledge of the difference energy access could make. While we have shown initial success, we still have gaps in the organization we need to close. Those gaps are customer discovery, startup capital, and securing partnerships for financing our solutions. Join us and help us achieve our goals. Here's how you can reach us, and thank you for listening.
Lynn, that was a great deck that you put together for us, and the numbers of units that are already out there, the home and the microgrid units, are inspiring. It brought up 2 questions for me. Oh, there you are. Hey, man. Good to see you. It brought up 2 questions for me. One was, can you describe just briefly the existing alternative? Like, we figure there are ways to get electricity. We've heard of solar power. What are the other options that they would have in these developing countries? What makes your product unique?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ben. So first option is that for wealthier families, they'll end up going to contractors or they'll end up ordering from abroad, basically like paying international companies to deliver solutions. That's really expensive. But for lower income communities, what we see them doing is that, so let's say like there's a low income family who needs solar energy in their home. So they'll save up for a couple of months, they'll go to the market, barter on a solar panel, they'll bring it back home. They'll save up for a couple more weeks, buy some lights, bring it back home. They'll save up for a couple more months, go to the market, barter on a battery, bring it back home, and clamp it all together. So absolutely best case scenario is that these systems work, but they're not optimized either from like engineering standpoint or for a user experience standpoint. Worst case scenario is that they can be fire risk because they're not sized properly. So where we come in is that we're not trying to introduce solar technology. We're not trying to educate users on a new technology. We're basically saying, hey, look, you're already using solar energy. Here's how we're doing it better, more effective, more efficient, and safer.
That's awesome, Lynn. And then the other question, I mean, that makes sense to me. I remember thinking you didn't invent solar, but this package together is a unique offering and it's optimized for developing countries specifically. And then it comes with your passion to get it there, which makes me think, I see those numbers of the units that you've put out in the field and, another 200 or something this year you want to get out there. What brought you to Rally? Like, what keeps you from just continuing on the path that you're on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, like we have a very steady track record of making installations, finding resettlement shelters to make installations, and basically our pipeline goes a little bit like go to the UN, see where resettlement shelters are without electricity, and then raise money, bring electricity to those shelters. What Rally was able to provide for us is that we've known that while that's like a stable pathway to go forward, there's like a big chunk of the market that we're not addressing. So we came to Rally, we're like, hey, we want to learn how to commercialize our products. Myanmar can't be the only country with energy access issues. So let's go and see if there are other communities around the world who can benefit from our work. And basically that's allowed us to look at commercialization, not only in Myanmar, but also in other communities abroad.
That's awesome, Lynn. The last thing I was thinking about with you that would be fun to hear is similar to a question I asked Professor earlier. If a tutu does everything you hoped it would do in the next 5 years, what do you imagine you'll see? What would happen?
Yeah, so with like our community microgrids, they're called monitoring systems, right? That means like we can pretty much look at how much a family is consuming, how much energy is being produced, how much battery storage exists in a community. And my hope, my aim is that if we're successful, we do everything right, I can pretty much take a drive through Myanmar, have my phone out and point out, hey, there's an Atutu system over there. Hey, there's an Atutu system over there. Hey, there are 3 families over there consuming 6 kilowatts of energy right now. And like, that's more of a personal aspiration for me. And then in terms of environmental aspirations, as I said earlier, these families are using like fossil fuels to pretty much power their daily lives. And having these numbers allow us to understand how much unsustainable sources of energy we've actually diverted by using solar.
Well, Lin, you are inspiring. One of the things that he kind of mentioned briefly, he grew up in Myanmar. Your level of knowledge of the information and your integrity to solving the problem in a sustainable way is inspiring. So thanks for coming through the program, and we wish you success, and we'll stay in touch. So thanks, Lin.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Okay, we got 3 more, and our next one is Corey Salter with Hydronomy.
Good afternoon. My name is Corey Salter. I'm one of the co-founders of Hydronomy. We are a climate tech company, and we are a water sustainability and technology company creating sustainable solutions to address the global water crisis. So my team and I, we saw a need. We all are aware of the Flint water crisis that took place, that started in 2014. Last year, we saw Jackson, Mississippi have its own water crisis, but even in other places around the country, we've seen lead pipe contamination becoming a bigger issue as infrastructure has been failing. And one thing that all of this has in common is that this is happening in Black and brown communities. So me and my team, we're 100% Black owned. We set out to solve an issue that affects our community the most. Over 44 million Americans, which equates to about 460 households, lack access to clean drinking water. We were able to grab this number using the EPA Safe Drinking Water Standards Act. We saw a problem in the water industry. We saw that there was going to continue to be a funding gap in water infrastructure that'll grow to about $434 billion by 2029. We also saw that up to 10 million Americans, households, and 400,000 schools and child care centers are serviced by those lead pipelines that are now being contaminated due to failing infrastructure. We also saw that ratepayer delinquency was becoming a more prevalent issue as folks are getting less secure water and also are being priced out at a higher rate than had been before. So here at Hydronomy, our mission is to create sustainable solutions that address the global water crisis. We have a team of scientists, engineers, and public policy change makers, which are committed to disrupting the industry with smart, equitable, and resilient solutions. We find great value in utilizing our premier education, influential access, and ability to alleviate the imminent water crisis, which will impact all living beings and disproportionately communities of color. It's important that we talk about communities of color because, as I said, we are 100% Black owned, and who better to solve the issues that affect our community most than folks who come from those communities. Hydronomy's value proposition lies in our unique ability to provide clean drinking water that meets the EPA Safe Drinking Water Standards at a cost reduction than what your usual end users use today. So we're 100% connected from the grid. We require zero plumbing. We enhance your drinking water quality, and we expand access to water. Here we have our 2 products, our Hydronomy Hydrator and our Hydronomy Air Well. These are solar-powered atmospheric water generators. Performance metrics, we produce about 5 gallons per day, and we operate in 47 out of the 50 states. That is due to the level of humidity. Through research and development, we will be able to function in more states down the line, but as of right now, this is what we're comfortable sharing. The Hydronomy Hydrator, applicable for hiking trails, outdoor water festivals, agriculture, and the Hydronomy Air, which is applicable to single-family homes, tiny homes, cabins, trailer homes, mobile homes. Our business model is B2G and B2C. This is a hybrid because we feel like our direct customers are your local water authorities, your utility seekers, your sustainability managers, your emergency readiness managers as well, because we want the government or municipalities to purchase our unit and then be able to disseminate that to our end users who are suffering the most. Like I said, our business model, we have that hybrid model. Our systems are priced at $4,450. Here's our our market. Service attainable market is about 1.2 million. That is about 32,000 homes. That is taking into account the relationships that we have across the Eastern Seaboard, Florida, New York, and Washington, D.C. As of right now, we do have letters of intent and hydrator pilot sites. Right now, we have raised about $85K, which is now about $100K in non-dilutive funding, which is what we are seeking today. This is our team: Brittany Kendrick, myself, and Xavier Henderson. Happy to answer any questions that you have. What we're looking for is introductions to your water treatment centers, your water treatment centers, your sustainability managers, your emergency readiness managers, and so on. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have today. Thank you.
Awesome, Corey. Thanks for putting that together for us. The Hydronomy team has 2 people here, and Corey, which is in DC. And so that's where you are today, I assume. Yeah, cool.
Yes, it is.
An atmospheric water generator, a solar-powered atmospheric water generator is just a cool thing to say, in addition to being a cool thing that's in the world, Corey. And it's impressive you guys have put it together. Can you mention the facets that you feel like are unique about yours compared to other atmospheric water generators?
Yeah, I think, what sets us apart from other competitors on the market is the price point that we've been able to provide for our end users. The fact that, our system is solar powered, so it can be used for off-grid applications. And the fact of the size of our unit as well. Our most direct competitor, the unit that we've been able to develop, is about half the size of what is currently on the market.
Awesome, Corey. And then the other thing I was thinking about, man, we've talked a lot about customer as you've come through this program and trying to think about the right entry point. And, it's literally an infrastructure problem in so many municipalities. Can you talk a little bit about what you feel like is your next 2 steps in terms of customer acquisition or generating revenue?
Yeah, I think the next step for us is being able to have pilot opportunities that validate our proof of concept. I think because we are a new technology, there is going to be some pushback on adopting it so quickly and having our end users drink the water. So some of the pilot opportunities we're looking at are, irrigation pilot opportunities where we're able to prove that our units do produce water and the water that we produce does exceed the EPA safe drinking water standards. And I think the next thing for us is also just looking for manufacturing opportunities. Right now, we're sourcing and curating a customer right now, and we need access to manufacturing opportunities so we can continue to develop our units.
Awesome. Well, we're excited about Hydronomy and wish you all the best. So thanks for being here today, Corey.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay, our last 2. Next, we go to New Orleans with Joshua Anderson and Nomic.
Hey guys, I'm Joshua Anderson, founder of Nomic. I'd love to share a bit about what we've been up to during our time at Rally. We are working on expanding computer science access so that anyone can enter the field successfully. Our purpose is to help people live to their fullest potential by securing meaningful employment in the computer science industry. Our typical beneficiary is a young adult who needs to reskill or upskill. Commonly, they're first-gen college graduates, underemployed, been on the job hunt for 3 to 6 months. And they want to enter the tech industry, but they have not quite been able to land their first job yet because something is lacking. The problem that they're experiencing is they have had thousands of job applications that they've put in and had absolutely no results. This is not an isolated problem. 21% of boot camp graduates have the experience of finishing up their program and not finding a job after. And it's worse in colleges, with 32% of university computer science graduates finishing up their program and not having a job waiting for them on the other end. Our impact strategy is to use training to unlock opportunity for our beneficiaries. Students engage online from wherever they are so that it's accessible to as many people as possible. And success is measured by job placement. That's what's important to us, is making sure that they have mobility. Our customer profile typically lacks industry knowledge and self-marketing skills. And although they're a very hard worker, they're not necessarily applying their time in the right direction. Frequently, people send out hundreds or thousands of applications into the void, and instead, they need to do some better self-marketing. Our solution is a 3-month course to teach people professional skills, things like marketing, the best way to present themselves, and how to handle a tech portfolio. We do this through online delivery that's remote first, and enable our students to collaborate with real companies on their projects. Our pricing is a $10,000 income share agreement. Students only pay if they finish up their course and land a job afterwards. Our market size is a $308 million market on a national level, and our beachhead is just $52 million for unemployed bootcamp graduates. Solutions drive outcomes with our programs. Online appliers become skilled networkers, school projects become workforce experience, and students become professionals. Our team is my co-founder and I. I have a background in business and in software development, and my co-founder has a background in software development and mathematics. Thank you so much. I'm Joshua Anderson with Nomic. We are working to bring opportunities to enter computer science to everyone. Thank you so much.
Josh, that was great, and I bet not a lot of people here with us today. Oh, no Josh, bummer. Josh is in New Orleans, and I don't know, he was saying he was having some troubles earlier this afternoon, so his product has moved. What I was about to say is you don't think about coding bootcamp graduates as a problem that needs to be addressed, but that's the beauty of this open application and surfacing all these challenges. And the way Josh is persistent to find the right customer has been really interesting. And so that new, that business model, the pay model, is new and fun to see him come to. So our last founder is Asha Owens with Dendrite.
Hi everyone, my name is Asha Owens and I'm the CEO of Dendrite. At Dendrite, we're building the digital infrastructure for America's social safety net. And our goal is to increase equitable access to critical resources like food and baby formula. We serve 2 beneficiaries, the first being owner-operators of small groceries, C-stores, and market stands. And they make up about 84% of authorized SNAP retailers right now. Our second beneficiary would be consumers who are shopping with federal benefits like SNAP and WIC, and that's over 50 million Americans. When you put it all together, both of our beneficiaries experience SNAP redemption inequality. So for consumers who get SNAP, they receive this on an EBT card, which looks much like a traditional debit card or credit card. But there are a whole host of restrictions around how they can actually use it, and it makes it hard to use it with local businesses, and then they also can't use it online in most cases. So on the other hand, for small businesses and small grocers, over $125 billion in SNAP benefits were redeemed in 2021, yet only $24 billion, or 19% of that, went to the types of small businesses we consider to be our beneficiaries. So, Dendrite is connecting these nodes of our economy, and we're ending the monopoly that large retailers have on SNAP redemption. Our ideal customers actually meet these EBT stocking criteria, and they either currently or would like to accept EBT as a form of additional revenue. But when they go to do this, they face a lot of complexities. So it's time consuming to set up. There's an extremely long reimbursement process that can vary based on a lot of different factors. And then there are all these additional compliance requirements and reporting requirements. And this leads to missed revenue, decreased cash flow, and a low return on investment. So this is where Dendrite comes in. We help these business owners get their money faster and with less hassle. So first, we create seamless EBT acceptance for them to process EBT transactions through. Then, once they process with us, we actually get them expedited reimbursements. So they get their money in days, not weeks from the government. And then finally, we offer a host of reporting and data tools, which helps them meet those ongoing requirements. We make money through a combination of monthly subscription fees and transaction fees. And we know that we're on the right track with this problem and model because we've seen that the pandemic has spurred some really large investments in this space. both from the government in the form of these online purchasing pilots, and then within the corporate retail space, because large companies like Walmart and Amazon are investing in technology to accept EBT online. So the team is made up of me, Asha, like I mentioned. I'm a former product designer and software engineer, and I'm joined by Avanti Pointer. And so far, we've been backed by both Visible Hands and Character Labs as our two main investors. I'm actually a two-time founder and started working with Avanti during my other startup, Best Fit, which is actually the first universal eligibility screening tool for federal benefits. And my work with Best Fit has been recognized by organizations and funded by organizations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Partnership for Southern Equity, and the Roddenberry Foundation. As we move forward, we're looking to launch our MVP over the summer and process at least $10,000 in EBT transactions. And we need introductions to owner-operators of our target beneficiaries and customers, and then any subject matter experts with experience in payment processing or building fintech tools. Thank you for your time, and we hope to have you join us as we continue to build the digital infrastructure for America's social safety net.
Asha is based in Atlanta and had a health issue, couldn't join us today, but the thing I was going to say about Asha is, like, she mentioned some of the recognition she's gotten for a previous thing that she started, and she's very systematic. It seems like a theme for us with this group that we have people who were driven by real problems that they experienced or encountered themselves and trying to find market-based solutions to address them. That's not always the case. Sometimes it goes the other way, where they've got a market-based solution and they stumble on a problem that they can address. So it's really interesting to watch these companies iterate, experiment, and she's on the path towards finding this need that she can address to really help these small business owners and markets. And that's the thing that's exciting for me about a night like this evening, is it's a small little snapshot in a network that is evolving. I mentioned when we started that we have over now 100 fellows, right at 100 fellows who have come through the program. We have about 25 rally makers who are targeting their philanthropy for the year at helping these social entrepreneurs locally and abroad because problems are worth solving. Coming out of our 5-year celebration a couple of weeks ago, we're developing now new programs to help continue to serve past fellows who have been through, that are looking at the next stage of help. How do we help them move towards investment, scale their customer base? How do we build peer groups where they can continue to talk to each other? So Rally is really this growing network of world-class entrepreneurs, innovative problem solvers and philanthropists, municipalities, and academia, all focused on solving problems. It's a really cool network to spend time in. And so it's really fun to get to have an evening like this with all of you here with us and online to celebrate the entrepreneurs, the fellows, and to know that we're not done. Like, these are problems worth solving. And so we should continue to drive for solutions however we can. So hopefully you found one of these fellows, if you came this evening, that you can support along in their journey. And if not, I'll tell you. You come to me afterwards and I'll tell you who you should support. But eat the rest of our food and enjoy your evening. Thanks for coming, guys.